women's half of the draw, the women's field, and I think this one is a little more open, obviously, when we talk about who is the favorite to win, how many contenders we have. Aryna Sabalenka is the world number one. Surprisingly, maybe she hasn't won a Grand Slam this season, despite, I think, several opportunities. Iga Swiatek is entering in incredible form. Coco Gauff is a former U.S. Open champion, obviously won the French Open this year. Her level's really up and down. Like, as we dig into it in the top half of the draw, top quarter, what do we make of, I guess, starting with Aryna Sabalenka, the world's number one player? Do we expect her to kind of take care of business in the early going here, at least at Flushing Meadows?
Well, it would be the first season since 2022 that she hasn't won a major if she fails to win here at the US Open. And she'd been showing such consistent growth over that time, 2023 winning Australia, 24 winning Australia, and of course the US Open last fall. This year, no slouch. I mean, finals in Melbourne, finals of the French Open, semifinals at Wimbledon. She's been remarkably consistent. She just hasn't been able to hoist that trophy yet. So I definitely think she's going to be extra motivated to get there and do that. She might have a matchup with Leilani Fernandez in the third round, which is a tricky one for the Canadian, obviously, who played so well in Washington, D.C., hoisting the title there over Anna Kalinskaya. It's too bad to see that she might have to come up against such a brick wall and formidable opponent like Sabalenka so early in the tournament. Clara Towson's played some good tennis. She's in the mix there too and could face Sabalenka in the fourth round.
Yep.
And then you've got a couple of names that we're used to seeing in late stages of these tournaments in Elena Rybakina and Jasmine Paolini, who could both also be a quarterfinal opponent for Sabalenka. And this is just one quarter of the draw, which is why I love women's tennis so much, because it's just loaded with names who are able to get it done. But I think Sabalenka's got a little extra something to prove here and doesn't want to go titleless in terms of the slams in 2025 if she can help it here.
Yeah, certainly. And I think she does have a reasonably decent draw over her first few rounds. I think back actually to Leylah Fernandez when she made that finals in 2021. One of her huge wins, of course, was overcoming Aryna Sabalenka, which seemed like a feat impossible, especially in the early going of that match. And, we get an all-Canadian match, unfortunately. Rebecca Marino, big congrats for her qualifying, getting 3 tough wins. And actually in her first win in qualifying, she saved multiple match points and rallied to come back from behind and win. And she's in and has to face Leylah. So we'll see if that's an interesting match for sure. I think this is kind of a tough section, actually. As you mentioned, Clara Tausson's she played really well, really, really well in Montreal, had that big upset win over Iga Swiatek. So she's a tough out. She made the semifinals there. Elena Rybakina, I mean, she has a number of wins over Sabalenka. They've played in big matches, of course, in the past. Probably we think back to that Australian Open final, which was an epic between those two. But I looked at their head-to-head. I mean, it's 7-5 for Sabalenka. So if you're picking a short list of names who's capable of beating Aryna, obviously Rybakina is. And she did quite well in Montreal before Mboko beat her. And Jasmine Paolini's coming off the finals run in Cincinnati, where she played amazing tennis and played a pretty competitive final against Iga Swiatek. So I do think this is a tough section. I certainly think we'll see Sabalenka here in the round of 16 and beyond. And maybe that's a quarterfinal that she's running into Rybakina, or Paolini kind of keeps it up at Flushing Meadows. It is a dangerous section, but Sabalenka, I think, finds her way through.
And if we look down at the next quarter there, Ben, the big name that's going to pop out, not just to Canadian tennis fans, but those who certainly took notice with what she did in Montreal, is 18-year-old, almost 19-year-old. I think her birthday is coming up in a few days. Vicky Mboko, who is now seated 22nd at a major. And this is just, I got to look twice at it and do a double take, because she was ranked 85th in the world coming into the National Bank Open in Montreal, the Omnium Banque Nationale, I should say, in Montreal. Ranked 330-something in the world at the start of the season. What an incredible rise. She's been all over TV here in Canada for the last couple of weeks on every sports talk show, and doing them all with a smile, which is great. You hope that doesn't take her focus off things, because she's never had that much media attention, that's for sure. That's new, having the spotlight on her in that way. She opens against former Grand Slam champ Barbara Krejcikova, former French Open and Wimbledon winner, but I don't think that phases her. She beat 4 major champions en route to the title in Montreal. I don't see any reason why she can't add a fifth to the list for the summer right now. And then moving through that draw, you've got Emma Navarro, who has not been nearly as strong as she was seemingly a year ago, and potentially a fourth round match against Mira Andreeva, the fifth seed, which would be a tough one. But I like Vicky's chances. She wisely took Cincinnati off to recover from Montreal, where she did have a little bit of a wrist issue towards the end. I'm still feeling pretty good about her here, and I don't see the Mboko train slowing down at all.
I don't see it slowing down whatsoever. And yes, she is facing a two-time Grand Slam singles champion, multiple Grand Slam doubles champion in Krejcikova, but Barbara has been injured for most of 2025, and when she's been back, she's still trying to find her form and string matches together. Even Bianca Andreescu, we know, beat her in Montreal, and Andreescu closed that match out with a sprained ankle, completely like torn ligaments. So Krejcikova is not at her best. This is probably the preferred time to play her for sure. So I like Mboko's chances early on. As you said, Emma Navarro's having a poor 2025. She hasn't been able to string any wins together. She hasn't had results at majors either. And so the 10th seed, I mean, she's at risk, I think, of losing some serious ranking points for sure. We look back to kind of similar time from last year. She was breaking through. She was beating Coco at the U.S. Open and making a semifinal, and she played incredible in Toronto last year. So this could be a challenging stretch for her in terms of losing some ranking points if she falters. So I like Mboko there. And Mira Andreeva, to me, she was kind of, first half 2025 star with her tennis and has been more inconsistent in the latter half of the season, honestly. She hasn't been stringing things together the past couple of months either. So Mboko, realistically, like, would you be shocked if she made the quarters here and is up against someone like Jess Pegula?
Buddy, I've picked her to go to the semifinals. I got to be honest with
Oh,
you.
wow.
I have,
Okay.
and I'm feeling confident about it. Look, we could also be proven completely wrong, and maybe she goes out early and her
Yeah.
fairy tale summer run comes to an abrupt end. But um, I don't know. I'm getting like those Bianca vibes from
Mhm.
2019, and
Yep.
she just seems supremely confident. And a lot of these other players were mentioning to me, and as you just, so well, you put it so well, they're not at their best right now. Even if you look at Jessica Pegula, who a year ago won in Toronto, did she win Cincinnati as well?
Or maybe finals,
Or
Cincinnati
finals?
one in Toronto. I
And
can't
then
remember.
she finally broke her Grand Slam quarterfinal curse by making the finals of the US Open, but her summer's been completely different, losing early in both those WT 1000 events. So again, to me, it just bodes so well, I think, for Mboko here, in the top half. Um,
Yeah. No, you're right.
if we look at the bottom half, again, some
Mm.
big names, and the one that I'm most curious about, who just went through a coaching change, and boy, she's proven not to be afraid at pulling the trigger on a coaching change if needed, and it's worked well for her in the past, both when she teamed up with Brad Gilbert in the summer of, gosh, I want to say, what was that, 2022 or 2023 now? And then
2020.
when she changed coaches again just last fall for Matt Daly, Coco Gauff has brought in now a biomechanic coach, Gavin McMillan, someone who really worked wonders with Aryna Sabalenka's serve back in 2022 when she was having issues. Remember how bad her service was there for a while, and how she's been able to correct it and what she's done since then, becoming world number one and being so consistent at the majors. Um, so it doesn't surprise me that Coco once again has decided, hey, this is what I need to do in order to play my best game. And, she said, this is a quote, I'm not going to waste time playing the way I don't want to play. And at the age of 21, 22, I mean, I'm super impressed that she is not willing to just wait it out, that if she senses there's someone better who can help her with her game, she's going to go out there and make that change.
Yeah, gutsy change from her. I think it's smart and intelligent, and one of Coco's best qualities, beyond I think her maturity on the court and how intelligent she is, and in understanding the game, she wins when she's playing poorly. Like, she doesn't need to play her best to win so many matches, and you even look like she was still having, I think, certain service issues and inconsistencies on the forehand, and still won Roland Garros, which is incredible. She's such a tough out just by virtue of her movement, the way she can defend the court. She can scrap out a lot of victories with her B or C level tennis. So you think of when she unlocks that top level, just how dangerous she is. And gutsy change to make this coaching move and get a biomechanic, uh, specialists to look at some changes right ahead of Flushing Meadows. She's not nervous to pull that trigger, and I thought she obviously played better in Cincinnati, and Boko took it to her in Montreal, and we know Coco was not playing well there, but she did make quarters in Cincinnati, so she's trending up again. I think Look, I don't necessarily think she's gonna win the tournament, but I think she's gonna find her way through the first week if she can, and if she has to scrap her way through the first week, so be it. The one match I'm looking at, if it is a rematch, we've seen these 2 play kind of earlier in Coco's career, is could we see a Naomi Osaka versus Coco Gauff matchup, in the round of 16? Osaka obviously played really, really well in Montreal.
And that's who I've got penciled in here for the fourth round is those two players. I was so impressed with Osaka in Montreal, aside from her post-match press conference, which, to be honest, and I didn't do the recap episode with you. I was off camping with my family, and I'm not sure what your take was on that. But given what Osaka's been through in her career and just the mental health challenges, she was obviously on the receiving end of an awkward time with Serena Williams back when they were in that U.S. Open final together. I don't think Naomi meant any disrespect to Vicky, and she came out later and had some kind words on social media. To me, I'm not saying Osaka gets a complete pass for me, but I'm willing to forgive a lot with her and not point the finger at anything that's calculated or mean spirited. Love her game. Love to see that she's back playing some great tennis. She didn't play Cincinnati, I don't believe, but
No, no, she did not.
a little bit of rest then in terms of getting ready for the U.S. Open, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has a good run here. There's some other fantastic names in that section. Madison Keys, obviously, who's been so strong this year. Amanda Anisimova, I think, has a nice little section of the draw as well. And then clearly we got to stop for a moment and talk about Wimbledon champion and Cincinnati champion Iga Swiatek.
Iga Swiatek, I mean, she's back up to world number 2, and there is an opportunity, sorry, I don't have the math in front of me, that she actually could overtake Aryna Sabalenka for the world number 1 ranking at this tournament. I believe she'll have to win it for that to happen, but certainly for the latter half of the season, for the second half of 2025, who's been a better player on the women's side than Iga Swiatek? She's 18-2 since the French Open. You mentioned the title that she won in Cincinnati. Obviously, the title at Wimbledon was fantastic, and she really she roared to the title for the last couple of matches there, beating Bencic 2-0, and then we know the double bagel result against Amanda Anisimova. She just looks so locked in and comfortable. I think she's finally gelling perfectly with Wim Fissette. And she has so many tools in terms of shifting from defense to offense, playing fast, covering all areas of the court, serving better. I honestly think Iga has a very good shot to win another U.S. Open title this fortnight.
I'm just so impressed with what she did after last season. Like, she was clearly pissed off with the results. It wasn't
Yeah,
up to her standard, making the third round of the Aussie and Wimbledon quarterfinals of the U.S. Open. Yes, she won the French once again last year, which was kind of expected given she had won it the 2 previous seasons. But well, look what she's done this year: semifinal, even though she didn't win in Paris. First Wimbledon victory in a tournament she'd never been past the quarters before, and now she's continuing on the hard court. So I just admire the fact that a lot of players, they get up to the top, but to have that motivation, that hunger to continue to want to work, bring in a new coach if you need to. And I think her and Wim Fissette are a great partnership, clearly. I love the drive, the hunger, the not wanting to be complacent. And if I'm anyone else, that certainly worries me that Iga's playing her best tennis right now.
yeah, she to me is maybe the toughest competitor in women's tennis right now. And just on the bottom half of the draw quickly, like I like her draw quite a lot. Kalinskaya is a good opponent, but I don't know that she's going to have enough to really take out someone like Iga Swiatek. Other challenges, I mean, as much as well as Anisimova can play on a hard court and as great a season as she had, does it linger in the back of your mind if you get all the way to say the quarters and you have to face the player who double bageled you in the finals of Wimbledon? I feel like that would be a mental hurdle to really overcome. And Svitolina's a very nice player, but I would be stunned if Iga doesn't make the semis, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. So my semifinal picks, as unexpected. Well, no, you know what? I got some interesting stuff in it. Sabalenka and Swiatek I've got in their respective semis for sure. I
Yeah.
told you earlier I'm picking Mboko to go to the semis against Sabalenka, and I'm picking Osaka to have a good run in a place where she's had some pretty good runs before. Osaka, Swiatek. And I want to throw out one name as a dark horse and like a total unseeded dark horse that I like her
Ooh.
draw and I like what she might be capable of doing, and that's Donna Vekic, who's unseeded. And look, she gets Coco Gauff probably in round two, but I just feel like maybe now's the time where Coco's the most vulnerable. And if you move past that, maybe she can pick up some steam. I mean, this is a player that used to be perennially kind of seeded, it seemed like. Um, and if you're looking for someone off the radar, then that's the name that I'll throw out there as someone who could ruffle some feathers here.
Yeah, no, that I like that pick. We're the same actually on the bottom half of the draw. Just because Coco Gauff is going through the changes, and Osaka, I felt like when she was in the zone in Montreal, that's some of the best ball striking I've seen from her. Basically since she came back from pregnancy. She looks like four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka for a stretch of time. This to me is her best tournament. This and of course the Australian Open. I think she's ready for a breakthrough, and a breakthrough would be semifinals of Flushing Meadows. So I have Osaka versus Swiatek in one semi. Sabalenka, I think she fights her way through and makes the semifinal. I don't think she gets stopped before then. I really wrestled with putting Mboko in the semis. But to me, Pegula is so consistent. Even if she had a couple hiccups going into this tournament, I feel like she's ready to play herself into form. The first couple of matches, it looks like a lighter draw. I think we're going to have an Mboko Pegula quarterfinal three-setter. The fans just get Pegula over the line, and we have a Pegula Sabalenka semifinal in the top half.
And we end up with what? Number one versus number two? I mean, that'd be pretty epic, I feel like.
1v2, Iga Swiatek wins the U.S. Open is my pick.
Okay, I'll take Sabalenka just to be different, and
Okay.
loser can buy a beer in September.
That's a deal. I love it. Well, that's been our U.S. Open draw preview. Yeah, go
Well,
on.
let's not forget, the doubles, obviously. Gabby
Yes.
Dabrowski.
Or sorry.
Oh, yeah, well, I just the doubles itself, right? Gabby Dabrowski along with
Yes.
Aaron Routliffe, who are going to be a major threat for the title here. They just won
won
Cincinnati a couple weeks
Mhm.
ago and then fell in the quarters in Monterey. But I feel like, maybe a deep run there was not best for their overall preparation, anyways, for New York.
Yep.
Love to see what those two can do. And yeah, if we quickly end on the mixed draw, you know what? I was against the idea initially because I really felt for the doubles players taking away their bread and butter, taking away a little bit of their opportunity because you only get to play mixed doubles 4 times a year. But after seeing how it worked in practicality, after seeing the hype about it, after talking to many of the players in Toronto, the male players, about their excitement about playing the mixed doubles, um, it's kind of convinced me that maybe this is what's best in terms of bringing more people to the table, about getting the stars out there a little bit more. And I think it was great to see that, two doubles players, double specialists, if you will, the Italians ended up winning the thing. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it, singles players. But I think overall it was cool. It built a lot of hype, and I don't think you'll ever get that many people watching mixed doubles if you don't have the big names there.
From a fan experience standpoint, clearly it was an absolute win and hit for Flushing Meadows. Packed stadiums for mixed doubles. It's something they just haven't had in the past, and it's been kind of an afterthought, whether it's, stuck on a side court and being ignored, or even being ignored on a big stadium court where people have left after the singles matches, and then it's four doubles players they're not so familiar with. Huge props to Sarah Rani and Vavasori for their title. I'm glad they kind of represented all the doubles players that could not be there to compete. I don't mind doing necessarily this format next year, week in advance. I would say expand the draw and give other top doubles teams a chance to play.
Mm.
So I think it was a 16 draw, right? It was
It
really
was small. It was really small, but I think also the fear is if they make it too big, then it stretches over more days, and then maybe the
yeah.
players aren't going to want it to, conflict with their preparations. But
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know if 32 is realistic, or maybe
but
it's
that would be sort of the
4
best
with
of both.
buys.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
best of both worlds, I suppose, to kind of try and compromise. I wonder if the other Grand Slams take notice and say, maybe this is something we want to try at our events as well. I wonder if Australia considers it. You have to think they'd at least consider it after seeing the success of it here in New York.
I'm sure they're gonna think about it. I am glad that all the singles players I know took it very seriously. They were not playing like it was an exhibition. They were, they were strategizing, they were making different calls, changing formations. They were treating it like a serious doubles tournament. And with the major on the line, I am glad the doubles team came through with the victory. So I don't know. It gets like a B from me, not an A, but a B.
Yeah, well, there were no Canadians there, so it can't get more than a B.
There you go.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.